Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's EN practice. For props for today, I suggest having a soft block and then maybe a hard block as well will come in handy. When you're ready, we'll get started on the back. Just have your soft block nearby. We're going to set up for a happy baby. So you might choose to bring your soft block underneath the hips just for a little extra support. So you can just lift and find a place that feels comfortable to support the pelvis. Awesome. From here, as you're ready, bring the knees into the chest, and the block will just be there to support. And if the hips naturally come up off the floor, it'll just help them feel a little more grounded. If you need to find a little movement or something first before you come and find your stillness, then go for it. And when you are ready, we'll set up so you can take the hands to the shins, the ankles, or the feet. It's still the beginning of practice, so it may not be a very deep expression. If you need to have the feet pointed forward instead of up, then that's fine too. So go and find your version of a happy baby. If the block is helpful here, then great. If not, feel free to take it out of the way. Let the knees, the legs start to feel heavy here, using the weight of the arms. And take a moment to settle the head to the floor. If you need to add some padding or anything like that, then go for it. And if anything feels a little fidgety and would benefit from some movement, then maybe you want to take that first. Maybe you want to rock side to side, or you can play with extending one leg and then the other. But whenever you feel ready to come and find your stillness in the shape, maybe closing down the eyes, find that calming breath. Let the body be heavy here. All right, gently release the feet if you're still holding them, lowering them back down to the floor. You can move your prop out of the way. It might feel nice to take the feet wide here and give yourself a gentle windshield wiper side to side. And then as you're ready, roll down to one side and take a pause for a few breaths. With the support of the hands, and come up to find a tabletop position. From your tabletop, we're going to set up for a squat. So you can step one foot outside one hand and then the other outside the other. And then take a moment to find a version of squat that feels okay for you today. So if you want to add some height for the heels, you can do that. If you want to use your hard block, or if you have a couple, you can make yourself a seat and take a little pressure out of the knees. You could also work from a standing squat or with your bum all the way to the floor, or more like a butterfly shape. If it feels okay to bring the hands up off the floor, then maybe you're bringing the palms together here. And find an angle for the feet that makes the rest of the shape feel more comfortable. So if you want them a little wider apart or pointing a little more towards center, then go for it. If the elbows are pressing the knees apart, then especially if you're sitting on a block, then that's fine. But if you start to feel like you need a little more support from the pelvis, then you can also engage the legs just a little bit to create some resistance. And check in here to see if something's holding that doesn't have to be. Maybe it's the shrug muscles, maybe it's something in the facial expression. Let's see if you can quiet that down, maybe close down the eyes. As you feel ready to come out, you can bring the fingertips back down to the floor and slowly start to lift the hips. You can bring your hands to your blocks, come to a halfway lift shape, and then we'll start to widen the base so you can start to heel toe the feet wider and wider apart. We'll set up for a wide-legged fold or dangling shape. For today, you might take the feet a little bit wider than you normally would, so find a distance that feels still okay in the body. Angle the feet however feels the most comfortable for the hips and the knees. And then just check in here. You can stay in a halfway lift shape the whole time, or if it feels okay to start to let the spine, the head get heavy, lowering towards the floor any amount. And see where you end up. And if you feel like the floor is a little far away, you can always use your props to bring it a little closer. And check in, make sure that the stretch feels sustainable. And if you find yourself too deep, then feel free to back out at any time. Otherwise, see if you can find your stillness in the shape and find your breath here. from your fold, make your way back up to your halfway lift as you feel ready. And then from here, we're going to transition to a seated wide-legged forward fold. So you can come out of the shape altogether, lower down to the bum, and then set up like that. Otherwise, if you're with me in your wide-legged forward fold, then you might explore taking the feet even a little bit further wider apart. And this isn't particularly graceful, but just see how it goes. See if you can start to walk the hands back and then lower your bum down, maybe onto a prop or just wherever you end up. So you likely will have a wider stance than you would normally. If this doesn't feel comfortable or if it feels like it'll be hard to sustain, then feel free to take the feet a little bit closer together at any point. If staying upright feels like enough of a stretch, you can also stay here. Otherwise, you might think about rounding in and folding. So maybe bring the chin in towards the chest, start to round the upper back and then the mid back. Make sure there's no pinching, make sure it feels comfortable for you, even if it feels a little intense. You can walk the hands forward. If you want to lower the elbows, then go for it. And if the floor is a little far, then you can add some props. Breathe into your stretch. Make sure it feels like a pain-free expression. And from your fold, slowly with the support of the hands, and start to walk yourself back upright. It might feel nice to lean back on the fingertips and take a counter stretch, puff the chest up, maybe lift the gaze. And then from here, as you're ready, you can use the arms to slowly guide the legs back together. And take a moment to give them whatever release they need. It might be a tap or a windshield wiper. Awesome. And then have your props nearby. From here, we'll lower back down onto the back. And take a moment to get comfortable. And then take the feet a little bit wider apart. And as if you were going to windshield wiper, lower the knees both down towards the left. And see where you end up. If you feel straight away the knees pinching or you want to add a prop to support it, then go for it. And one way to deepen this stretch as well would be to reach down for that right foot and bring it a little closer towards the pelvis. If you're happy here, then you can stay. Otherwise, you could also think about lifting that left foot and resting it on top of the right knee. Again, just make sure that this doesn't take you into the realm of pain. And then from here, you can support either knee as well. So if you feel like you're going a little too deep, or if it feels like you're having to use your muscles to hold the shape, then add some props in so that you can make it more effortless. Maybe the arms out to a T shape. If you like to take the gaze down towards the right, then go for it. Settle in here. If the left foot is on the right, then you can lower it and bring the head back to center. And then release the right leg as well if you brought that heel a little closer. And give the knees a gentle windshield wiper side to side, or you can pause with the knees in together. And then when you're ready, we'll set up for the second side so you can have your props kind of about where you think you'll need them. Set the feet nice and wide apart, and then lower both knees down towards the right. And see if the side straight away feels a little different or needs different props. And then if this feels okay, then the option to bring that right foot onto the knee. Before that, actually, if you did so on the first side, then maybe you're bringing that left heel a little closer to the bum as well. And so perhaps stacking the right foot on the left knee, adding any props that you need here to make the shape just a little more comfortable, more sustainable, less effortful. Maybe the arms to your T shape, maybe the gaze down towards the left. Bringing the head back to center. If you have that right foot lifted, lower it down, releasing the left leg, and then see where you want to be. You can rest the knees in together or take a windshield wiper side to side. Awesome. When you're ready, we'll set up one last shape. So with the feet roughly underneath the knees, find your heart block here and then lift the hips just enough that you can slide that underneath. If you want more height, you can stack both your props as well. Find a place that feels comfortable, so gently resting the pelvis on your prop. You can stay with bent knees here or start to extend the legs long down the mat. Let the feet do whatever they want. So if they want to flop out or rest in or anything like that, then go for it. And find a comfortable place for the arms as well. If your legs are extended, slowly start to walk the feet back in and lift the hips just enough that you can move your block out of the way. And then maybe pause, take the feet a little wider, rest the knees, rest the hands, wherever feels comfortable. And then see what you would like from your rest shape today. I'm going to offer two options. So for one, you can extend the legs down the mat and take a traditional Shavasana shape. Otherwise, you might want to explore legs up towards the ceiling. So if you have a soft block, I find it makes it a little easier to have the pelvis tilted a little bit. So soft block under the pelvis, find somewhere that feels comfortable, and then you can bring the knees in towards the chest. Starting off here, and you're welcome to end here as well if this feels good in your body. If it feels more relaxing than having the legs extended, then you can choose this. You can also wrap the arms around them, almost like a child's pose on the back. If you're with me and you want to extend the legs up towards the ceiling, then find any expression of this that you like. You might take a moment just to stretch out the legs a little bit. Any distance between the feet that feels comfortable, so it can be hip, wider, narrower, and you can also add as much of a bend to the knees as you need to make this feel less effortful. If you like to take the arms up towards the ceiling as well, go for it. Likewise with the arms, find the shape that feels the most natural in your body. And if at any point the shape stops working for you, feel free to lower the arms and legs back down to the floor. Softening into your shape, finding your stillness as you're ready. If you're with me in legs up pose, then gently bend the knees into the chest and wrap the arms around the shins. And if you were in a regular Shavasana shape, then you can slowly start to add movement and transition to find here knees into the chest, and you might give yourself a rock side to side or some circles with a low back one direction and the other. There's no rush to transition. You can stay here as long as you need. And think about how you'd like to make your way up to a seat. You can gently rock up and down. You can roll to one side. And eventually coming to find any comfortable seated position using any of the props that you have around. Settle the hips into the floor. Take a moment to lengthen the spine, to soften the shoulders. And take a moment to scan through and just to notice. And perhaps collecting the hands at the heart, bowing the chin to the chest. Thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for yin practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your day.